What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another ArchAngel Cafe with some special guests with a special guest this evening. Hope everybody had a great week.
Hello, everyone. Great week. That's subjective.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on Cafe tonight. And let's see who's here already. Ultra's always here in the middle of the night for him.
Yes, it's like 2 a.m. for him, I
I
believe.
know. Thank you, buddy. And Cypher. Okay.
Well, you're surrounded with good people there.
Yeah, I know, right? And Kieran, Stacks. Awesome.
Let's say, and I know we're not going to have Archangel Token down the audience tonight. He is preoccupied with some other things. Aslan may be swinging by, may not. We're just waiting on Quester right now. And he says he's racing over. Guess what? Can't be better timing.
You all done with dinner?
Yes. Sorry, I opened the comments and I immediately read Cypher's. I'm like, oh.
Totally fine.
Yeah, no, Caddy, as soon as you were like, where are you guys at? I was like, I have to. I got it.
I know for once I was the first person here. I'm like, this is not right.
You know what's the funny thing, too? Guess what was for dinner?
Chicken?
Yep, my chicken wings.
Oh, heck yeah.
Universal fast food chicken wings.
I had a drumstick in one hand and shoveling salad in the other.
So, guys, we haven't even had the opportunity, though. Brian, welcome to the cafe this week.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, good to see you here.
Yeah, our special guest, USPS 87, drops some crypto bomb articles pretty much every day in our chats, in Arca and Guardian chats, and they're very informative. So we figured we'd drag him on cafe. At least his voice will be here. And he can have some combos with us. Are we muted? Am I muted?
What? No, I'm here.
Is Caddy?
I think it is.
Caddy?
Oh.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yep,
my
bad.
So,
Okay.
yeah. I just been fighting the typical Sunday gremlins around today.
You having technology issues?
Oh, I don't even want to go there. When I wake up to see the blue screens of death constantly and boot looping this morning, yeah. And it only, Quester, you can verify this. It only happens on freaking Sundays.
It was always every Sunday. It was whether we'd be on stream or the hours before we were going to start the stream would it start acting up.
Yeah, I could do production all week long, but comes time Sunday to get on stream. No.
Poltergeist.
Well, yeah, you're using too much of your resources. Come on.
Yes.
See, Brian's getting some shout outs.
Yes.
Love the fam.
Yeah, we love that you're here.
Definitely got the hardcore people that's been around, for quite some time and come join us every week. And I remember Stacks, he was a little upset one week, and when we said we wasn't going to have the cafe for the first time, he's like, I don't know what to do.
Yep.
I was supposed to meet up with Stacks in October down in South Carolina, but my trip got canceled. So going to have to plan it for the next time. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. And it's unfortunate. I'm here in Illinois, and I got the opportunity to go down to South Carolina. I was there for about 6 months for work down in, oh my goodness, my mind went blank. It was Charleston, Mount Pleasant. There we go. Near Isle of Palms and things. And I kind of find out, Myrtle Beach, that area, I was only like an hour and a half away from Stacks.
Oh, no way.
Yep. But I didn't, that was truly before my crypto time.
Oh, that would be kind of cool if you guys could meet up. I mean, we all feel like we get to know each other so much online and cafe, and would like to meet somebody in person. That's a whole nother level. That's cool.
Peel me away from these screens for a minute.
I think you need more than a minute, buddy.
I do.
So busy week in crypto this week. last week, I should say.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in Mexico. I got family down there. I mean, I'm all right with that. It's a family trip. Don't worry. I'm just visiting 2 families at once.
There you go.
I'll go.
Not from America. AI isn't Ultra. I know AI isn't.
What's that?
If anybody else is not from America.
Yep. Ed AI Ultra. Oh, of course, it's from Ultra.
Hey, Ultra, did you
Marco?
know you're not in America, bro? Who else
Osland.
do we have that's...
Marco's in Norway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marco.
we got Marco
68.
Norway, 68's in Germany.
Yep.
Oh, who else do we have? I'm trying to think of other people that are...
Oh, Diamond Hands. She's a mod over in Guardian. She's in Ireland.
Huh.
And then we got Mr. Craig down in Australia.
That's right.
Craig in Australia.
We need Joe's Matt.
We really do.
I think he gave us a picture of that recently. It has
did.
a lot of push pins in it.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Would he buy 5,000 pins? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I'm curious. I know he'll stay on top of that as things go on and as things grow. But let's say Cartel. I've heard stories.
It's okay. The family that's there, they're more down south in Mexico, so they're not close to that. You'll be safe over there.
We'll go visit Chester's family.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We don't worry about the cartel. They worry about it now. I'm kidding.
Okay.
Jeez.
So
Jeez, I'm still trying to recover from that. Like I raced right over here. My heart's still pumping really bad.
Pardon Quester, he's trying to recover from his chicken wings.
Yeah, my chicken wings and salad. Me trying to be healthy, but at the same time not.
the salad makes up for it.
Exactly.
It eases the conscience.
Yeah, makes it even
Yep.
better. All right, so
Yeah, I'm
what
on
do
a
you guys?
diet. Turns around and eats the fried chicken.
Mhm.
What do you guys want to chat about first? What do you want to cover? Are you? Oh, I thought you were muted again.
No,
Okay.
I'm just at a loss for words. You know, we don't on Guardian side. We don't have a lot of updates. Arca, you know, the staking pool, we're down to what, a few weeks.
Probably around. I don't know exactly, but
30
maybe
days?
32-ish days. Yeah, something like that. Guardian, though, we listen. We always have a little something to mention on Sunday nights about Guardian, right? So
Well, there's always there is stuff going on. Don't get me wrong when I said that.
I won't tell about the stuff that we're working on, but no, we have we developed the official Stage 5 logo, sent that out to all the projects that are currently listed on Stage 5, and they can use that, put it on their website or their platform, have it linked back directly to their Stage 5 page. And as a matter of fact, Defiant was, I believe, the first one to do that, and he let me know today, so I went and checked it out, and it looks great on their site. It's right there underneath partners or partnership, but it's just another way that these projects are working with us, that we're working with them. So, you're gonna pull it up? Awesome.
There we go.
Yeah. So that is the Stage 5 logo, the official one.
Caddy beat me to it. I knew I had I was looking at them literally today. I was trying to find the tab that I had them on.
But yeah, you know, that's one of the goals. Now that we have Stage 5 kind of rolling out full force, there is, you know, we wanted them to be able to portray that listing in an official capacity. You know, the goal is we're not trying to be CMC or CG. They have their own place in the space.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that we are trying to do is, there we go. The one thing that we're trying to do is to let them know there is a difference. There is that price analysis, and then there's also project analysis.
Yeah.
And that is where Guardian really can live side by side. And the goal is, hopefully we'll see maybe CMC, CG, and the Guardian logo, the Stage 5 logo, all in that same area. So people can do that comparison side by side. It's great exposure for the project. So we're giving out a few different of the icons or the icon and logos. So there's some smaller versions for them to utilize in the footers of their website, and then the larger ones for their documents. We've also included Herald logos with that for the ones that are stage 3 or more. So anytime a project lists now and their application gets approved, if they're at least a stage 3, they're going to get kicked the Herald logos and the stage 5. So that way they can link directly to their project announcements right from their website. Because from the surveys, it was very interesting. That is the most visited space, first place visit to research a project is the website.
The website, yeah.
So allow that, put those details right in front, show them that, the stage 5 listing, what benefit it can bring to their community and to the people researching. So that was some exciting things. Thank you, Ms. Gatchett. It's been that long of a week.
No, it's totally fine. And they're going to get both those logos moving forward. Projects will get those right in their approval emails.
Yes, so it will come right in their email.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the goal is, we want them to be able to brag to their community and be able to show all the details of what one might look for when they're researching projects. So I'm hoping within, 6 months or as the bull market things go, I should not look at ETH right now. As things pick back up in the space though, I can really see us coexisting down there right next to those names long-term. So.
Yeah. Yep. Always good to have these little, get these DMs and these communications from the projects that are listed or that want to list. There's another one that I've been in communications with, and, answering some questions. And that's the other thing too, is right now, if someone has a question when they fill out the form, if they're not really sure where to put something, they can communicate with us. They're going to get, the answers they need, the feedback they need, to move forward instead of waiting for, an email to come back from a help desk or from customer support. So it's very close knit right now. And I think that projects appreciate that, that direct communication. So
Definitely. And that's one thing, we're always building. We're constantly adding, refining, seeing, taking the feedback from the communities, from projects. And, that's the great thing about it. It is very moldable. We can pivot, we can adjust in any direction that's necessary or needed.
So that was a little exciting thing for Guardian. So, there's projects in the pipeline every week. So they're just going to keep rolling out, and we'll keep announcing it in our chat, and hopefully you guys will, the community will go check them out, and their community will come in and say hi, and vice versa. That's what this is about right now. This is what 2022 is about, and I think a lot of projects have learned that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yep, because the whole goal is to spread the word as far and wide as you can. All it can do is bring benefit to a project, to be able to put all those details in one place. And it's all about word of mouth. Once it starts spreading, we've seen this actually grab, given the market conditions right now. We're not seeing a new project pop up. Well, okay, I can't say that. We are seeing new projects pop up on a daily, but not at the scale as what we did this time last year.
Yeah.
But we're seeing, you're right, the competition aspect, I think, for the majority, that's becoming a thing of the past. If they're wanting to be in the space for long term and have some substance in the industry, it can't be competitive. We all have to start somewhere, and it takes a team. It takes a network of people to make that happen. And I always go back to relating to this one image that looks like a whale from a distance, but when you get closer, it's all the small fish making the image of the whale.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that one. Very accurate. Yeah.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I was gonna bring it up as well. Like, it's just like, it's more of like a benefit of survival that you get these communities together and you get close, and like you get closer to these people in these communities, I don't know. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna connect it to like us, like the original 3. We all had 3 were built in different communities and everything, and brought them all together, So it's like that kind of thing. Like, if you can bring in, and it also brings a lot of good awareness to a lot of good projects. That's the one thing I've noticed as well. Going through the Guardian token, like the token page, like I've been spending like the last 2 weeks there, and like every single time that I go and like I'll go in there and see like a new token listed, I have yet to find one that I'm like, the ones I always find are like they're really promising and they have really good ideas and visions. And their community is like amazing. I go into the Telegram chat, really supportive, really happy, just really good people in there. So that's the other thing I really appreciate as well.
Mm.
And and I do want to point out one thing with Guardian as well. I will always brag about the project data that it portrays. And and I say, for CMC and CG for price data or for the price analytics stuff, yeah. But one thing that we've discovered over the time is to get listed on CMC or CG, it's not as simple as it used to be. We're getting with Guardian, we're going to attempt to reapply again here in the next couple weeks. And we know we're over 6 months old. But the one great thing about with Guardian and Stage 5 is if you have a launched asset on the main blockchains out there, Ethereum, Binance, Poly, Avalanche, Phantom, and a couple others, you get immediate price data. So, you're not sitting out there waiting or just relying on DEX tools or a single source. You can use Guardian to get that initial information. The moment that they apply and that application's approved, if there's a live pair, there's pricing data for it.
The other thing I like too is when you go into those projects, like let's say like I'll go into like Arca's, it'll break down the taxes on the buys and sells and shows where they're being distributed. That's the other thing I like as well, because that's something that like CG or like CMC, they don't even show. You have to go to the website and see how their token distribution is, how their taxes are built.
Yep.
So it's really nice just being able to go into that project's profile and just right there, all that info right there for you. You can just read it right there, check out the stuff, and then go to the website right after.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, sir.
What, Brian, do you utilize Guardian at all there yet?
Yeah, I use that for a lot of information in the morning. It's very easy to look up if you're looking at other coins, if you want to invest in, or any kind of news. The scrolling ticker on the top is it's nice to see. If you need something quick, if you're looking for something, so you don't have to search for it. It's a very useful tool if you're going to be in the sphere.
Oh yeah.
Then mission, we're heading in the right direction. That's the whole goal. That's the type of feedback that we like to hear, is to make sure that they're finding true use, true utility out of it. One thing I every time I talk to somebody about it, I have my little post-its around. I actually just took a couple notes, and there's something I want to look at. So for you, for example, Brian, you really like that scrolling ticker up top.
I do, because like last week was utilizing something with BNB, and I was just looking at the price fluctuations, and it's very easy just to click over and see the things right away. Plus it's our home. This is in our family too, so of course you're going to use it much more frequently than you would something else. But it's a very impressive page. It really is.
That's been the goal, and there's still more to come. That's one thing. The developing hasn't stopped. It may take a little bit more time to get some things done, but I think we've hit some major accomplishments over the last 6 months for sure.
Yeah.
Guardian has gone a long way in the 6 months. It is amazing and it's phenomenal to see it, honestly.
Yeah.
Also, and the other thing I wanted to add in, last week, I think we saw the first initial huge drop of everything. Yeah, my Coinbase crashed. Like their servers just straight up crashed. I couldn't even. I was like, oh, that's weird, because I got an alert. I go and check it, servers down. I went into Guardian and I sat there just having the chart, middle of work, just was having that chart come up and just watching it light up. I'm like, I am so glad that we have a Guardian platform. Like, this is so useful.
Yeah. One of the other things I want to point out, a question was brought up. I think it was in the middle of the week. I can't remember if it was in our mod chat or if it was up publicly facing, but it was a good question. Somebody was asking, why is the price on Guardian different than what other platforms are showing? And that's a simple question, or a simple answer. is the price data that's being aggregated from Guardian is directly from the DEX or from the decentralized exchanges, from Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap. So what happens with a majority of charting is it requires a buy or sell or transfer to occur to reflect the price of the token that it's also paired with or the asset that it's paired with. So for example, Guardian's paired with Ethereum. Somebody was asking about Arca, so we'll use that for the example. And this is a bad time because we've seen a downturn on the market, but it was, hey, why is Dextool showing a higher price than what Guardian is? It shows that 2% down over here, but you guys are showing 12. Well, that's because it reflects in real time the pairing asset as well. So if ETH was dropping, it will reflect that on our charts immediately. So when you look at Guardian's charts and you see these gaps that are not red or not green, and just either a drop or a drop or a gain, that's because that was solely reflected on the paired asset. So when Ethereum drops and there's no buy or sell, and you see just a blank on that chart, no red or green, you know that was due to the influx of ETH. So I wanted to make sure people kind of understood that. It's not a broken chart. It actually has a point and purpose, and it's very awesome. But once you understand that, you can see where the volume is and where things are slower and see how things are moving.
Yeah, because I mean, those guys, like other places, like I don't think they really show that, do they? Like of the drops with ETH, like they don't show that even real time. They don't even show it as like just a drop, just a jump and drop. They'll show like make a little red candle, and then it'll keep going down or it'll go up because of a buy or whatever it may be. They don't show that just gray, like that gray bar, and it just going down.
Right.
That's the other thing I really like too about it. Like, because that could be something else as well. If people are just watching the charts, they're not looking down at the chart info to see the buys and sells, they could easily be like, oh, like this token's being dumped or whatever. Let's just wait for it. Instead, they'll be able to go into Guardian and be like, oh, okay, it's because the fluctuations, it's because it's ETH based. That's fine. Like, no worries there.
That's what I love about it, because you're right. Quester, if you're looking at a low market cap asset, it doesn't take much of an ETH price move to move the price of that asset. And when that happens, if it's just a straight line or red candle, it looks like a dump, and it could have just been solely due to what the market was doing overall. So
yeah, that's a good point, Brian.
I see that down there.
Brian, you want to be a mod?
I was gonna say,
one step at a time.
that's not a
This
no.
is your initiation. This is your trial by fire.
All right.
Oh, good
See, if you
goodness.
can handle being on the cafe, you can handle anything.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he'll be back. I think by the end of this, he'll be like, phew, I did it.
One thing about it is I just learned I was actually having a talk with Brian right before we started the stream, kind of like where I got started. And I was the same way. Like, majority of people, it's a whole different beast to get on YouTube in front of a camera. You can get in front of 300, 1,000, 5,000 people and have a conversation. But all of a sudden, it seems like when you throw this little device right in front of you, it's like, this is a little different ball game.
Yeah. And as I was going to say, even then, like, if someone's just used to just doing videos, like it's a completely different ballpark from switching from videos to live, like, right? Videos, you can go back, you can edit whatever, you can get rid of whatever clip. Live,
Yep.
like if you mess up, everybody sees it.
This is easier, though. Caddy and I had to record something for Guardian, and we spent, no joke, the entire day recording.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen. Yeah.
For a 5-minute video?
What?
For a 5-minute video?
5-minute video. It took all day. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, man.
I'm surprised we didn't reach to the screen and kill each other.
Yeah. But one thing that, we had a conversation after that, though, and that's when we were like, the best way to do it, hit the live button. Because you don't get that opportunity to go back. Like you said, Quester, you don't get the opportunity to go back. It forces you to do it. And I'll tell you what, like, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I probably would have still been in this bubble if I would never have done streaming. I'm still not comfortable with it. I'm still not confident. I'm still like, a lot. Or I get rambling. So, But it's the fun of it. That's what got me out of my shell, though, was all of this to begin with.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because when you got the live chat and you got the people on the screen talking with you, like you got to talk.
Yep.
Especially if you have your camera on, you can't be standing there the entire time. You know, just kind of and just sitting there like, well, you know, I'm fine here. And it gets easier though. I feel like it gets easier being on live, but at the same time, like you said, like you still get those butterflies.
Oh yeah.
Like
Fun.
still haven't got rid of those.
So, Caddy, there was something else though that Joe had put in Guardian chat that we're going to be looking at in a couple weeks. We'll be doing, or I say redoing our application for.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just blanked for CG.
Yes. I thought I mentioned that already. I might not have, but yeah, that we are going to be trying to reapply here in a couple weeks to CoinGecko.
Did you say that already?
I thought I did. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Hey,
well,
it's
anyway,
always
hey
good.
folks, guess what?
The best way for information to stick is reiteration.
Yes.
So
But,
we'll say it again.
Yeah, the thing was, we got very trigger happy when Guardian launched. We literally applied that night. We launched that morning. We applied at both CMC and CG the night of, and early mid 2021, you could do that, and you would still probably get listed in a few days. Well, the things have changed over there a lot. It's not as simple. It's not as direct as to what or as how or what is needed. But we are going to give it another go. It took months of collaboration for them to finally give us an answer. And it's just time for us to start that process over again. So hopefully, one thing that we do know they consider is interaction, the community and social presence, and also transaction volume. So, yes. She says coffee. I wonder if it has some Bailey's in it.
No, it's got pumpkin spice.
Irish,
No,
Irish coffee.
no. But no, you're right, Caddy. That's something that we're gonna have to revisit, months later, and make sure that not only we look to see if there's any changes in the application process, but yes, transactions and community involvement are important still. So
Yes.
We'll let people know as it gets closer, though.
Yes. And, not only do we got that stuff going on, from the technical side of the house, we're still working with our developers, with current providers, and looking to get some certain things enhanced and refined. So I don't want to make any promises yet on anything. We're still collaborating, trying to get some doors open and see what we can do with that aspect. But there's still always something being built within. So.
Oh, yeah. We have massive conversations about stuff like,
yes.
Dare I say, hours-long conversations about what we can do next. So
let me tell you, I love the aspect. I love the fact that we have an open-ended solution. We don't have an end of the road. At the same time, the hindsight of that from our shoes is it is very freaking exhausting sometimes.
Yes.
But it's an amazing experience nonetheless. We're constantly out there looking, constantly evolving. Miss Brad, you're out there working with all the communities. I'm kind of working on the back end of the house. This is why, unfortunately, guys, I wish I could be more socially present. But
Caddy's been very busy.
Yes. 4 a.m., 5 a.m. nights again.
Remember when we used to say it's going to get to the point where it's going to be Caddy, the project manager of Guardian, making special visits?
Yeah.
We've gotten to that point. Every
Yes.
single time you come on, bro, it's a special visit.
That's true.
Also, here, to add on to that, pumpkin spice Baileys. How about that?
Ooh. Who's talking about some? Oh, that's you talking. Okay, I say if that's her talking about it, I'm gonna send her up to the liquor store real quick.
I'm sure it's got to be out there. Some kind of infusion or something's got to be out there with pumpkin spice Baileys. There's no way it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you guys know it does.
Home remedy. So,
all right.
So let's see. So, Brian, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What? Obviously, the topic of cold wallets has come up, especially this past week, and I think Joe had dropped into chat the possibility of a community VC. What are you? I know that you have one. You have an LPAL. But what do you think? What are your thoughts, especially this week, on people looking into those?
So everyone knows the expression, not your keys, not your crypto. There you go, Caddy.
I figured I'd show one off real quick.
It is very easy anyone can open up a Coinbase or a Binance account and they can purchase whatever they want. And then a lot of people just leave it there. It does take a little bit of extra money, certainly a learning curve. But if you were going to be investing in anything, if you could add that level of security, this past week just amplifies that. This was amazing what happened with FTX. You're talking, this set crypto back years. I hate to say that, but it's true. We were making progress. I've been posting a lot the last 4 months about institutions buying in, and this really did a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to kill the industry, but one of the good things that will come out of this is I think it will increase the speed of regulation coming in. And this whole thing, I don't think the story is finished being told yet. It's not, I don't think it's as simple as a 30-year-old who was a genius just made some bad trades. The gossip is running around. Everyone has a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
For the life of me, I can't understand how he hired a 28-year-old who I've watched some interviews with her, and she really had no idea on what she was doing. She actually made a comment that stop losses were bad, and it's not surprising. Hindsight's 2020. It's not surprising what happened here, but again, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around, but this is not the first domino to fall. You're going to see smaller exchanges fall. Crypto.com is in trouble. So we're going to hit some rough waters. I think in the long run, and I mean 5, 7, 10 years, we're going to be fine. But this really was a gut punch. And there's a lot of people that lost an awful lot of money. There was reports about Tom Brady and Giselle that had $600 million tied up with FTX. And I mean, they're going through a divorce and they're fighting over money, and that money, a lot of it may be gone. You know, you're talking major players that have much more knowledge than all of us combined. Kevin O'Leary lost millions. Sequoia Capital lost millions. You know, my kids were asking me today what this is going to happen. And I said, well, picture a car accident. And, you know, right now it's the shock part. And then it's, you know, hours later you're at the hospital, and then days later, you know, certain body parts start to hurt. We're literally just still at the scene of the accident. And this is definitely going to reverberate. But, you know, everyone hang tight and protect your crypto. Cold wallets are essential, especially if you have any kind of money tied up. My LPAL, I believe, was maybe like in the 130 range. And again, YouTube is a great thing, though, because you can type in anything and learn how to do something. And that's how I learned. And I've helped some people out with that. You just don't be intimidated by it, but protect your asset at all costs.
Oh, yeah.
So With that, Brian, definitely some good advice right there. And I am also a believer with, with hardware wallets and ways to be able to store your assets. I think what we're heading into, it's just a good practice in general. If you are in this industry, I would highly recommend getting familiar with hardware wallets. MetaMask, Coinbase, all that is great for your everyday use. But if you're holding, you got stuff that you plan on holding for years to come, don't keep that stuff on a hot wallet. Essentially, is what we call it. Get yourself I don't know how well this is going to come through. Ledger Nano X. I got an S somewhere around here. The Elapal, Trezor. They're all very beneficial. Now, one thing I have both the Ledger and the Elapal. I typically do go to my Ledger, but for one reason and one reason only. And this is me, just my own personal side of this is I still get to utilize MetaMask and all ERC20 assets with my Ledger.
Oh.
So I am not isolated to an interface. I can actually import or utilize MetaMask parallel with my hardware wallet, and my private keys still never touch an online source. So that is one of the big keys, the fundamentals of a hardware wallet. If this, for the technical people out there that want a bit more understanding, your hot wallets, your private keys, they're constantly online. Every time you sign a transaction, it goes through. You are engaging with it in one way or another. With a Ledger, with an Elapals are great for the air gapness of them. One of the biggest cons, though, in my opinion, is battery life. Now, granted, you're probably not going to use it as often as I do, trying to learn it and teach it. But the battery and I go round and round. I can't get through a recording session on a battery. But with the Ledger, though, just the ease of use, I've been very impressed with it. The whole key of that, though, guys, is it protects your private keys. Your funds, they're still on chain. There's a lot of confusion out there with cold storage and hardware storage, or hardware wallets. Cold storage is just that. It was kind of brought up around the Bitcoin era, to where you would literally pull your Bitcoin off chain. And what I mean by that is you could not access your funds. It did not live on the blockchain. It actually lived in that device. That's the difference of then and today and now. With Ethereum, your funds are still on chain. You can still get reflections. You can still get all the benefits of having a MetaMask or a Coinbase wallet. But when it comes to these, it is so much easier to be able to utilize in the experience within the space. Sorry, I got on a little ramble with that.
That's okay. It's definitely good information because I think more people have just been talking about it this week alone. Yeah,
and it's a good, it's always a great time to talk about it, but especially with what's going on in the markets right now and the conditions that are happening. FTX is a big one that came up. A lot of people, this was an oversight. Less than a week ago, or about a week ago, Team Finance, they had some issues over on their side of the house, a $15 million breach on their side.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I was watching that real closely throughout that day, just because I do know that Arca, Guardian, our funds, our liquidity is locked on Team Finance. So it was a kind of a priority for me. Luckily, we were safe. We were protected. They confirmed that with me directly. I was in chats with them from like 9 o'clock that morning on. But they did confirm that we were safe and things. And it just gets you thinking, no matter how many security audits out there, there's somebody who can always find a way around. It's technology, it's code, it's ones and zeros. It's all about finding that right combination. These mitigate that at the end of the day. So remember, you are in control of your funds. You're in control of your assets. You're the first line of defense when it comes to that.
That's true. That ledger that you held up, is that a USB stick or what? It looks tiny.
Well, it is. And that's the thing, when you put them in a comparison to the Elapal.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys, my light is right above my camera. So when you put it in comparison, yeah, it is a lot smaller. And the great thing about it is when it's being stored, it's even smaller than that.
Wow.
So it is about the size. It's a little bit thicker than a flash drive, but I can easily throw it in my pouch in a safe anywhere I need it, and it's good, ready to go. Also, one other main big misconception out there, and this is something I think that a lot of people fear hardware wallets for, is If you lose this device, if this gets damaged, you do not lose your funds. That's the best freaking part about this. Now, it's up to you to keep that seed phrase that came with this, but as long as you have that seed phrase, you can always recover your funds. You don't even need another ledger to recover them. And actually, I highly recommend that you don't import it directly to another ledger. If you have one that gets damaged, or if you have a hardware wallet that gets damaged, import your funds or import your wallet with your seed phrase into MetaMask. That will get you access to the funds because these only protect that key. Now, at that point, I got to state that you have ruined the integrity of a hardware wallet that for that seed phrase. So if you ever have one that gets damaged, I highly recommend you purchase a new device, a clean one, set it up as if it is a brand new device. Don't import over, and transfer your funds. And the reason being is in order to import it over, I haven't done this recently, but I know the last time I checked, you still had to put that seed phrase in. And to me, that takes away from all integrity of the point and purpose of why you got this. So
Yeah. Good point.
spend the little extra money, transfer the funds over to the new one. Don't just import it, and go that route.
The nice thing about the Elapal Caddy is you just held up the device. It's a little bit smaller than a cell phone.
Yeah.
You're only going to use that after you initially set it up. You're only going to use that when you go to withdraw funds.
Yes.
Because that will be tied in with the app. And you will be able to see on your phone your values, whatever you have in your house, so to speak. You can import whatever coins or tokens you like, and it will change when the market prices change. But just because you have an app on your phone, it is air gapped. They cannot. It's unhackable.
Yep.
I was explaining to a friend yesterday. The only way that it could possibly happen is if somebody, broke into your house and was threatening you, because you do need both devices and you have to scan a QR code to actually move funds out. Now, we all invest differently. So if somebody's going to be actively investing, it's going to take gas fees to move stuff back and forth. Obviously, if you're like me, I'm mostly 95% hodling. I buy it and I store it because my game plan is until the end of this decade anyways. You can stake on there. I stake Polkadot and Cardano on there. It's going to sit there anyways, and just let it be. And I know that it's completely 100% safe.
Yes.
But they're all good. The Ledger, the Trezor, Elapal, just get something. It's worth the money. It's a very cheap insurance policy.
Mhm.
And it's worth a little bit of learning curve to protect your asset.
Yes. Now, Brian, have you ran into any other issues with the Elapal? Now, the reason why I ask is I've had people come to me and ask, one, they're not able to view certain funds on the Elapal itself, which of course we do know it still lives in the wallet, but it just may not be visible in the app. It's kind of the same as Ledger. But the other thing too is I've had people say that they were having issues where it was requiring an ungodly amount of gas and it wouldn't allow funds to move unless they had like $500 of ETH in there to confirm the gas fee. But the gas fee would be drastically less. Now, I've only heard this from a couple people, so I was just curious of your feedback if you've ever experienced that.
As far as the gas fees, no, they're very reasonable. Hate to bring up a sore subject, but I did have my Scratch stored in there, and it wouldn't show because of the 0.9 or 10 zeros it wouldn't show the value of what that was. It did support Arca, it did support Scratch, it did not support Guardian. I did get in touch with them, and they said that they didn't support it at this time, and but they're always looking to add tokens. So that's an ongoing process. But honestly, I've had no problems with that at all. Again, my investing style is a little bit different. So I shut mine down. I don't need to access it. because I hodl. I'm not moving funds in and out. But again, once you learn, and all you have to do is just type in on YouTube how to set up an LPAL, and it really is fairly easy.
Yeah, it is actually very, very simple to do. They've gotten those processes down pretty smooth.
Oh, another thing, Caddy, very, very important. Do not buy it secondhand. Make sure you get it from whatever device you're going to get. Make sure you get it straight from the supplier. Don't get it on any other secondhand.
Yeah,
place you would buy something.
no eBay, no Amazon.
Exactly.
Get it directly from the manufacturer itself.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. So I think people shop around thinking they're going to get a better deal. They'll end up just being compromised. So
yes, and you know, Brian, that's a very, very, very good point. So I actually want to piggyback off that and take this a step further. Is even if you do order that directly from the manufacturer, one, make sure when you get the package that it is still properly sealed. Every manufacturer, it comes in a sealed package, and when you set up the device, it will give you the seed phrase. If you get a device and the seed phrase is written down in the box somewhere, no, contact the supplier of where you got it. That means that the device has been tampered with. It is up to you to write that seed phrase down. It will never come set up with a seed phrase, or it will never come set up with a card that has a seed phrase on it. That's just a way to kind of take care of yourself out there too. When you are trying to procure one of these, just make sure that it is sealed in the factory package. If you have any doubts, contact the manufacturer directly. They'll let you know what security measures they have on their packaging to look for. So
that's an excellent point. You're right. And always have multiple copies.
Yes.
Wherever you want to store them. I have 2 in my house, and I have another copy of all my passwords at my sister's house where she lives. Somebody that you can trust, obviously, that doesn't reside with you. Multiple copies, though, and then you can't go wrong. I got a new phone a few weeks back, and some of the apps did not transfer over, and one of them was LPAL. So on my new phone, I downloaded the app, and just like you were saying early, Caddy, I had my seed phrase. It was flawless. It just went through easily, and I was instantly back connected to my cold wallet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the great thing about it. The easy use, they've really streamlined that process. It was very daunting and intimidating before. And I want to kind of put the blame on Bitcoin for that with their network of how their processes were. It was pretty complicated 10 years ago, for sure. Does a big store sell those like Best Buy or another? No. The last I knew, they are not available in store again. I still would not recommend buying them from a Best Buy. Reason being is a lot of those stores are now dealing with third-party providers themselves for their marketplace. So again, go straight to the manufacturer. You may wait a little bit. I think I waited about 2 months on my LPAL last year. I think the process has gotten faster, and with Ledger as well. I was told it was going to be about 2 to 3 months on my ledgers, but I think I got them in about 4 to 6 weeks.
that's not bad, actually.
No, because one of them is based in France.
LPAL's in France.
Okay, yeah, that actually did not take as long as I thought to get here.
When did you get yours?
Oh, gosh.
Like, was it this year or did you do it last year?
No, it was last year. It was right before Ed had made an announcement that LPAL and Arca was getting together. So that's when I was doing the Caddy YouTube channel and doing educational content. And I'm like, you know what? If this is going to be a thing for the community, let me get ahead of this. Let me get one myself, get experience with it. And if anybody has questions, I can just be another resource for them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was the tail end of last year, like November, I want to say. I think it was November. I don't remember. I remember the contest going through and everything. I can't remember what month it was. I remember that it was tail end.
Oh my god!
And you know what's sad? I've actually been making it a point to go to the gym almost every day. So I have tried to make that a point. Thanks, 68. I appreciate it.
Patty, you have more motivation than I do to go to the gym.
It's not motivation. It's me being in front of this
Dragging
computer.
yourself out there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
there we
me
go.
being in
November
front
to
of this computer
December.
every day.
Sorry, there was a bug that flew in front of my face.
That was the thing about it. When I first got into ARCA, I had been in management for over 18 years. And I took a change of pace, with Guardian. I started working from home, and let me tell you, going from a physical job of 14 hours a day to being in front of this all day, it does take a toll on you. In my defense, though, I will say weight got out of control. I was up to almost 290 pounds. I'm back down around the 230 mark. So
Good for you.
That is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is not all muscle.
That's true.
Yeah, it does. And amongst other things too, there's a lot of moving pieces that we have happening right now. We're still doing some research into the NFT aspect for ArchAngel. What else?
Yeah, undefined muscles, Caddy.
Undefined. Yep. They're in there somewhere. I just don't know where.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of talk in ARCA about kind of fleshing out upcoming utilities, possibilities anyway. There's been a lot of conversations about that. So
yeah, and that's one thing, I want to brag about that with the ArchAngel community. When it comes to ArchAngel itself, these guys don't want to sit on their hands. They're not waiting for somebody to say what's next. They're in there trying to figure out what's next. Now, one thing we should probably move those conversations into the public chat, but we get so carried away. Some mods bring up some ideas, and the next thing you know, we're in a 3-4 hour conversation. Right? Let's rip this apart. We kind of have a standard practice or standard guidelines that we follow in a checklist when we're trying to vet these ideas out and see what's going to be best for here. Sorry, I was reading something about cold here. I don't want to talk about the cold. It was 70 degrees 3 days ago.
Yeah, now it's like 32.
Yep. Oh, it got down to the teens on us last night. It touched the teens.
nice.
I was gonna say I didn't even check last night. I didn't want to. I was like, I'm done already.
Put it this way: I started Saturday morning outside with my leaf blower. It was probably maybe 40 something degrees, and as I'm leaf blowing, I turn around and I have sleet being just impaled off of me, and I'm like, "The heck!" And I just take leaf blower in the garage, throw it down. I was like, "Well, there went that idea for the day."
That's cool.
And then Southern Illinois, they got I think it was 4 to 5 inches of snow that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
It snowed here, but not like a whole lot.
Yeah, it was enough to
It was
cook the
gonna be
dust
like
on
an
the
inch
car.
of that. Yeah, here we're gonna drop down to like low 20s.
Yep.
I mean, not
We're
terrible.
down right there right now too.
Ms. Brett is dying for the snow. I could tell.
Give me snow.
Well, Caddy told you where to go. South Illinois is the place to be.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to South Illinois.
Or you
Bring
can
it
go
to
to
New
South
England,
Indiana.
baby.
South Indiana has mountains down there too. I almost said up there. Down there too.
I was going to say that's what we're talking about is down in Southern Illinois, right where the foothills start. Start.
Yep.
Let's see. Ledger comes in about 2 weeks. Nice.
Sweet.
So they're getting faster with it for sure.
That's good.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to be probably about the same if you ordered it from anywhere else. So
Yeah.
and I just
Keep in
checked,
mind-
like they're about the same. They're the same price all around. So just get it from the supplier, like the source themselves.
Yes.
I just went on Ella Powell's website. It's $139, and to your point, Caddy, there was one on eBay for $85. Do not do that.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly.
Yeah,
Do not do that.
That's dangerous.
$139. I think that you're going to see a lot more people globally starting to get these. I would not be surprised if the price starts to creep up a little bit.
Yep.
Because I think there's going to be more in demand because, you get 3 arrows or Celsius. That was one thing. Those were small shock waves. This was a tsunami. What happened with FTX?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I hope people can appreciate that. and you're going to hear a lot of talk about centralized exchanges. And I think in the long run, if anyone's a Bitcoin maxi like myself, it's going to be beneficial because that's totally decentralized. And yeah, you have to protect your asset.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep, I think you're right. That tsunami is I think that's pretty accurate. And the thing with this FTX debacle is that now any CEX is going to be looked at with scrutiny by the public. The trust has been wiped out. There's a Hong Kong based CEX. It's is it AAX, AAV? I think it's AAX. And they had to put things on hold for 10 days, but they had to explain publicly that it was due to a third party partner not coming through with a scheduled upgrade that they had. So they literally had to come out in a defensive maneuver and say, we're not associated with FTX. We have nothing to do with them. We have to stop transactions for a completely different reason. But they did that knowing that as soon as it went public that they had to halt trading, there'd be torches and pitchforks coming their way. So I think any exchange is looking at that right now, looking at that potential if they do anything publicly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just from the Guardian page, like right before we hopped into here, I was reading, like it was maybe like an hour and a half before we got in here. There's already a lot of senators in the United States already coming up, like even louder now that we need to get these regulations like now, and they need to start working on them ASAP, and they need to find a way to regulate the exchanges. So I mean, it's been 3 days, and there's already huge voices like screaming out about this. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for next like year or two.
Well, that's the silver lining, Quester, that this will definitely put it on the fast track. Gary Gensler is going to have some questions to answer because he had Sam in on 3 different occasions. And he was interviewed on CNBC, and they put him on the hot seat. And you can see this really cocky individual. He was squirming. And when you start connecting the dots that Sam is in his office 3 different times, his boss at MIT was Glenn Ellison. Glenn Ellison's daughter was Sam's girlfriend that ran Alameda Research. There's a lot of smoke here, and this story it's far from over, and it will be a Netflix movie. There's no question.
Oh yeah. This just in this aspect, I was just checking out Guardian again myself, and BlockFi, they're halting trading, or they've paused withdrawals.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so Brian, with what you're saying there, we're going to start seeing a domino effect with a lot of the stuff going on, rather than regulation or some of the stuff that these exchanges are going to go through. This is a prime example. When we seen, oh shoot, I'm drawing a mind blank. It wasn't even that long. Duquan, help me out here, Quester. What am I think? What chain am I thinking?
Terra Luna.
Terra, yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was like, huh?
My mind went blank.
I was like, what?
His name. I always said that this is a start of something. Terra Luna had its own flaws. It had its own weaknesses within their model. But we are going to start seeing after, the big run of 2021 and that bear market conditions, everybody started running faster. And for a moment, the ground was keeping up with them. They were getting that traction. And all of a sudden, the bear market started setting in, and it's like a freight train. You can't stop it on a dime. So how quick the market shifted a lot of these companies were in the red. They've been overspending because they were trying to plan ahead. And unfortunately, we're all aware, with this industry, it can change in a day. It don't take much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the issue as well was like some of them kind of underestimated how bad it could get, right?
Yep.
Like a lot of them underestimated and over budgeted and just had poor financial planning, and that was their downfall.
Yes.
And I won't be surprised if we see more. Like, hopefully, it'll be smaller ones. I say that hopefully because, like, it's just not like any malice or anything, but hopefully just like kind of like a smaller weeding out of the exchanges, right?
Yeah.
The ones that stay are going to be, they're gonna prove their test of time, but they're probably going to be tested again when these regulations start popping out and start coming in.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. Like I said, it's going to get really interesting. A lot of these guys are already in extreme hot water just from the past 3 days.
Yeah, that's a good point, Quester. Actually, I mean, even if some of them survive this and they go, we're still here. You're right. That's only half the battle. The other half of the battle will be, having those regulations come in, figuring out how to conform to them, or if they even can. So that might be another chopping block too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and I wanted to also say this, we are talking about a lot of the negative sentiment, and the possible sentiment that's coming to the industry. For example, Brian, you're a hodler. You like to be able to buy, and you have a long-term plan in mind. Guys, what we see today, tomorrow, next month, and heck, even next year, this will all pass. It always does. We always see this happen. See something similar. Now, are the circumstances different? Definitely. There's some different key factors to be watching with this. But as always, what goes up must come down, and what goes down will come back up sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep that in mind, that we are still in the first inning of all this. The first inning of the first game. They're still recognizing what moves need to be made at a regulatory level. Projects are understanding how they need to adapt and pivot, which we're seeing. Just to stay relevant with the space and to be able to thrive for years to come. How to get out from that scrutiny, but still, focus on the mission and path of that what we set out to do.
Right. Yeah. And they're like this. The same thing. That same article I was telling you guys. Like I noticed it was like mixed of senators, or they had like mixed things of senators that were, some were like, they tried to make crypto sound like this giant, unruly, like untamed beast, and they must come in to tame it. And there was others that were like, no, this sucks, but we need to take our time still to really research this and understand this. That way we can do what's best, right? Like we want to regulate it, but we want to do it in the best way possible. We don't want to hurt anything more because they've already had a hit. We should not be causing more. Like we should be, if anything, helping tamper those.
Yes.
So that was the other thing. That's the other thing I appreciate too, is to see some of these Congress people that were in the midst of all this and all this craziness they kept a level head and was like, no, we this sucks, but we need to continue we need to continue with the best route possible. We can't go overbearing, like we can't, we don't want to kill this, but we agree there's needs to be some forms of protection.
Well, one of the good things, in this term is going to be heard a lot more, and you've probably heard it already, is proof of reserves.
Yes.
And
I just heard about it today.
the industry is going to start. I heard KuCoin has been doing this since 2014. I don't use them, but I know that CZ is looking like an absolute hero in this. I mean, he played this brilliantly because, and that was the other thing. When Binance said that they were going to purchase FTX, I think everyone was kind of happy, like, okay, we can get past this.
Yeah.
And we don't know, like I said, the full story. And less than 24 hours, he backed out of the deal.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I don't think they even looked at. They couldn't have looked at all the books.
They
So
did.
there is a lot more under the surface here
Yeah.
with connections and a bigger motive. And it could be a conspiracy theory, but I think that there's going to be some legs to that.
Yeah. So with me, I'm big on conspiracy theories, but one of the things that I did kind of learn about this, it was an article I read earlier today. Now, again, I don't understand I don't know the resource, so I can't vouch for any aspect of this. But from the reasoning that Binance backed out on the surface is that they were trying to portray they see similar market conditions as to 2008 reoccurring, with inflation, recession, things of that nature. Um, Now, maybe that's just the story cover right now, because Brian, you're right. They haven't had enough time to peel through everything they need. So whatever was the hard stop for them, they recognized pretty early on. Whether it was something in black and white or, just the fear of the way things are moving and Binance maybe seeing what smaller exchanges are dealing with. And the thing about it is with, Binance, they got that cushion. We're not talking about a small exchange at that point.
No.
Unfortunately, they're going to learn from other players in the space as well, because just like any business in this industry, we're all still learning. And whether we want to realize it or not, we're all learning from each other, including the multi-billion-dollar freaking ones.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's one thing I mentioned. It's not up yet. The video is going to be tomorrow, but I mentioned how it sucks. There's projects that will come in here. They have a great idea, but then they falter and they fall. But the great thing is that because they have that, they can have publicity, or they get their voice out there. Other people and projects can come in, see where they kind of messed up at, and take that in consideration when they go and take their takes. So that's the other thing as well with the exchanges. Like I can see like minor ones right now that are strong. They look at FTX, find out, whatever they screwed up. However, they take that as a learning lesson, and they actually help that build themselves, right?
Yep.
And they climb up. Maybe there won't be like top 10, but I mean, still, like, they could get themselves up there to be a considerable exchange.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing as well. That's really nice about this space is everybody's still learning, and there's still that possibility and chance for established people to come in and learn from those mistakes and say, okay, this is where they screwed up. This is where we can go better. This is where we can thrive.
Yep.
So,
and with that too, I had a conversation. I believe it was with Joe. It was with somebody, but we were talking about, for example, with Guardian and CMC. We're familiar with some features that's been launched on CMC over the course of the last few months, and it's about being able to exist in the space. Well, the one thing about it, what makes CMC so big and so demanded, is they own the majority of the market share. Them and CoinGecko.
right.
And what we mean by that is, they have the most user base. Well, one of the things when you have that much the many eyes on you, they are under a lot more scrutiny than some of these newer ones that are coming out. These newer companies are going to be able to absorb a little bit more and be able to pivot and adapt. They lose 3% of their market share. It's like, okay, we brush it off. We get up tomorrow. We make it back 5.
Right.
Binance loses 3% of their market share. We're not just talking about, millions of dollars. We're talking in the billions at that point.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that I noticed, and I kind of like about like smaller caps as well. Like the big caps, you need very small change for very big like price difference, right? ETH could go down 5%. It's like, it's down like $300-$500. And like you'd be like, oh, Archangel's down 5%, like 20%. Oh, it changed to like one digit. It went from a 4 to a 3, and that's it. And it'd be like the very small one. Like it would have the list of the 5, and then like the fourth would go from a 4 to a 3. That's the other thing I like about them is you need really big changes to like kind of have that really big movement, I would say, to get that same effect as the bigger guys that have really small. And again, like you said, a lot less scrutiny, and they can learn from these guys, right? They can look at these guys' mistakes, see what they did, and form themselves that way. If they see themselves going towards that same mistake, maybe they were following them because they thought that was the great idea to do. Now they can turn around and be like, okay, hold on, wait, that was not the right move. Let's try this outcome instead. So
Yeah, and Lucifer's got a very valid point here. He's talking about 130 projects that are connected to FTX are all bankrupt now. We talked about this early on. There needed to be there, just like with a project, there's holder cycles, and just with the scope of the industry overall, there is the market cycles. And these are the times that will truly weed out the thin. Now, it's unfortunate under these circumstances that the fault wasn't on them, but it was relied by a third party. And that is something that I think also too that we need to understand about the space is one technical relying on third parties is something that is very heavy within the space.
Yep.
You put a lot of your timelines, your promises are relying on somebody else doing their part. And this is no different. Seeing FTX, 130 businesses being, going through issues because of a decision they made.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. Now, this is the great thing about it, though, with collaboration with things, how we're doing things nowadays as we're all learning together with new projects out there, ones that's been around even for a while. We're all learning and we're learning together. And I'll tell you, there's a lot more projects that want, even from the administrative level, they're engaged on wanting to learn more. They're thinking the 1, 3, 5 years ahead. They're not thinking tomorrow, next week, or is this my P&D right here? I might get my money and get out.
Right.
I don't like talking about it, but it was the reality of 2021. Hype and meme coins were a thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I got
Definitely.
wrapped into a couple. I was a hodler. I was a diamond hander. And guess what? Make your own strategies to your best judgment, to what works for you.
Yeah.
Don't take advice of somebody else. Lean on it, but don't just take it for granted. Experiment, figure out what works for you. One thing I like to brag about just to give people ideas of different strategies that they can utilize. Everybody has their own. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Mine is I'll invest some into a project and I will watch the chart. And the moment that I can pull my initial investment back out and leave 20% of whatever my initial was in that project, then I know I'm good. Why? Because I no longer have a risk with that project. I don't have a lot of money into it at that point, obviously,
Right.
but I have enough. If it does well, great. And it's just because of the odds within the space. You get these projects with true utility, they struggle the hardest. It's proven.
The thing is, right, especially back then in that, like in 2021's market, it was more of what's the excitement about? The excitement was more, it's just cute dog that's animated. It's not what is this project actually doing to change or to help the space and improve or to show what is possible. It was more of what dog's cuter. You know what I mean? For me, my strategy was it depended on the project, right? Is how I did my strategy. It would be if, like, for example, your caddy, I would do if it was more of like a meme token. Yeah, I would put in the investment. I'd leave it in there for. It would depend on it because I would watch it maybe like a day or two, week, month, whatever it may be, depending on how much action it was getting. But as soon as I could get that initial, it was out of there. I
Yep.
sold it, got out of there. That way, the rest of it was just pure profit. And Lord forbid if it was a rug pull, well, at least I lost the profits, not my initial investment.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like Archangel, Guardian, all those guys, I haven't sold a single token. Those guys, I bought them and I let them sit there because that's that stuff. I was like, yeah, this is a utility. This is what it's coming out here to do changes, right?
Yep.
And that's what I appreciate as well. Is like more projects are coming out now where they're wanting to do things with the space, where they're wanting to change things, right? They want to do things. They want to evolve NFTs more than just a picture in your profile,
Right. We're getting more innovators than we are anything right now. And that's the thing is, the industry's still discovering, Bitcoin did its discovery, but now we're into NFTs, SFTs, into metaverses, gaming aspects. The possibilities are truly endless. You have Ford with NFTs and what they're trying to do. Not to mention the 200 other companies out there that have something going on with the technology that exists right now. And the best part is, I will always say this, we're still in the first inning. I bet you in 5 to 7 years, there's things that we haven't imagined that will be available. Um, and with Guardian, that's something that I love the position that Guardian's in, is we get to learn with the space together. And there's many people with great ideas, great resources, but they may lack one thing or another. And that's the benefit of the ecosystem, is you get the shoulder to lean on, you get the ears to lean in, and you get the soundboards to be able to reel you back and open up to things that you may not think of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I was gonna say you get people from all sorts of different corners of the world, different levels of experience and all that kind of stuff, and different forms of wisdom that they can give these new projects. And it's great. Like that's why I'm like these. I like ecosystem projects that are closely involved with each other, because they can play off of each other and be able to help learn each other, and they build it in the way that they support each other. As one goes up, the other one goes up, because they're sharing that information. It's not like, oh yeah, they're part of my ecosystem, but they're only affiliated with me. That's it. And then, like that's all they do. Right? So it's more of a closely knit thing, right? It's more special.
Hold on, let me see here. So one of the things that I wanted to point out, I was going to go back. Imagine 1T Guardian will be in 5 years. Oh, I would love to have 1T in Guardian. Holy hell.
Cypher, sir, just imagine the crypto prices in 5 years, right? Like not even it'll be insane to see them.
Well, and again, this is something else I want to talk about too, because a lot of beginners in the space, they may not understand this, especially if they're new into DeFi. Is when you are dealing with projects, ERC20 projects, BNB projects, you're not just putting your money into what you believe in hopes of that project itself doing well. You hope, you're hoping it does, but you're also going with the odds that your paired asset is going to do well too. And so to simplify that term in this matter is people venture into ERC20 tokens because the potential for higher gains is there. They're not just competing with Ethereum. Now they're competing with Ethereum and a project.
Oh, yeah.
So, your opportunity, your risk versus opportunity, you gain on both sides of that table. You introduce more risk, but you have more of that potential of gain. So always learn to measure what your risk is. But if you can understand that, there's a reason why ERC20 assets are so appealing to people. Not only is that where the innovators of the space exist, you have Ethereum, you have VB out there. Now, don't get me wrong, VB is that whole model is great innovators within the space, but you're limited to them. With the ERC20 community, the aspect of what's capable out there, now you have the potential of collaborating with thousands of people. Now, maybe about 90% of them you don't want to collaborate with, because we all know, that trend within the space, but that 10% that exists, we're going to be here for a long time. So,
yeah, in 60, I agree with you. I prefer DeFi. That's why, where was I? I think it was Stacks that asked about centralized exchanges. Like I think it was like Coinbase. Coinbase is okay, but I feel like it's more for me. It's more of my caps. It's the train from point A to point B, right? It's my conversion of fiat to my crypto, and then that crypto is immediately sent to my wallet. The only thing that's sitting in my Coinbase account right now is the Coinbase earns, and that's only because they're like $3. So I mean, if I lose them, oh well, I lost him. I lost like 3 minutes of life. I can survive. I won't die.
I have that too.
So I think centralized exchanges have their purpose. They're there to help with trading, but they should not be considered for long-term holding, right?
No.
Cold wallets,
Correct.
cold wallets, hardware wallets, those should be considered for long-term holding.
Yeah.
Your hot wallet, I'd say like middle like term, not it'd be there for if you like just in the time that you need to get your cold wallet, right? That's why I feel like.
So hold on one second, the question. I want to kind of put a pause on that because I want to jump in and interject with something here. Is hot wallets? Those are what is stored on your cell phone, on on your mobile devices, tablets, things like that, browser extensions, etc. One, please, guys, don't. I love the convenience of browser extensions, but guys, please understand the risks of that. Secondly, if that is your only choice is a hot wallet, I know 90% of people in the United States, they have an old phone that is sitting in a desk drawer, sitting somewhere, right?
Yep.
It can connect to Wi-Fi. This is a good interim if you are doing, maybe weekly things or just something where you don't need to engage with a hot wallet or a hardware wallet all the time, but you have enough on there that you're not wanting to carry it on the device that you carry with you every day. Guys, I have a couple old phones that I utilize as a form of that type of storage. Reason being is I only go online just long enough. I connect it to my Wi-Fi at home on my secured network. Another thing about this, don't do it on public Wi-Fi's. Make sure you're on a private network, on something you trust. But I utilize old phones for that. I don't keep my wallets on my main device. They're always on something that is kind of offline. It's not 100% connected to a network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the other thing as well. I mean, phones can get hacked easily. No matter whether you have an Android, Apple, whatever. I like my Apple, but I know it's susceptible to hacks. I'm not gonna sit here and play dumb that Apple's like this mega empire for anti-hacks. So you always got to be cautious about those kind of things. That's why I say like it's okay to have it, but make sure you only have it till you have your cold wallet, right? So that you can, even if you don't have the funds right now, that's okay to save up for it and to wait that month, 2 months, whatever it may be for it to come in. But then as soon as it comes in, you should get that stuff into that cold wallet. That way you can have it for 5, 10, 20, whatever it may be years, right?
Yeah.
Because it's, end of the day, it's a lot safer, and you don't want to put all of that money and effort into it just for it to be gone within like 2 seconds.
Yep.
So
now, if you are very much brand new into crypto and you are looking to do some of that day trading, you want to try your hand at it, maybe that is the model that works for you. I am not sponsored by Coinbase at all. I love their platform. It's a great entry point for somebody new into the space. They have some features that actually are really very beneficial.
yes.
So, with their trades, it costs anywhere from like $3 on up to do trades within the platform. Guys, if you do more than 10 trades in a month, it is worth looking at what they call Coinbase One.
Yep.
I have it, right? I have it myself. I freaking love it. Not just for the fees alone pay for itself for me every month, but it's a little bit of peace of mind. If you have their policies in place, they will insure it for up to $1 million. So, for somebody just looking in the space and having fun with it and wanting to do that day trading, that is a good tool to look into as well.
The other thing,
$1 a month will save you a lot.
oh yeah, Coinbase One, and then also this, I liked that they did this. They integrated advanced trading from Coinbase Pro to the normal Coinbase, like you're just like the free Coinbase version.
Yeah,
That's actually that was the whole reason why I was able to reach one of my crypto goals. Was literally I was able to use it was kind of like a trading bot where you set your price to wherever you want it to be at. Once that price is hit, it'll immediately fill it in for you. So that's the other nice thing as well. And they have it for both buy and sells. I think it goes up to like 10%, but you can change the price to whatever you want to be it. So like, let's say ETH, I wanted it at like, I don't know, like 1,000. Then I can put in 1,050, 1,020, whatever it may be. I don't have to put just the 5 or 10% or 1% down. And then when it goes up, you can sell it. I think it's the same thing, like 10, 15, like or 10, 5%, or you can set your price. So that's the other nice thing as well.
Kind of automate that process a little bit for you too. Another feature, and I have to look into this. I've seen a pop-up one of these times logging into Coinbase that they're trying to integrate dApp trading.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yeah.
dApp trading on a centralized exchange. I think we're going to see a lot more doors start opening up in the world. But, with what Brian was saying earlier, we got to get through the hurdles that we're being presented with today. We got to get some clarity and insight of what's going to happen, because it is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is getting too technological. too technical. I can't talk tonight. Getting too advanced with making moves in the space right now could actually be more catastrophic than beneficial, knowing with what could be coming through pipelines. Once we get a little bit more of a sense of clarity, I think you're going to see a lot of these companies within the space. They're going to start ramping up and ramping up quick once they know how they can do it.
One thing too, Caddy, is I traded through the .com crash. I traded the stock market for 20 plus years. And I mean, I'm 57, so I was around for that. And that was the end of the internet. And look how the internet and shopping and different websites has transformed itself.
Yep.
This was a dark week, and the storm is not over yet by any stretch. There are some silver linings here. One of the things, if you want to draw parallels, is back in the .com crash, we didn't know where it was going to go. I can tell you with complete certainty that I know where this is going. And this was a punch in the gut, but you have institutions with just trillions of money. And the banks are scared beyond belief, because the funds that you will save transferring stuff is going to be astronomical. And their hand was forced. And once Fidelity started this ball rolling, BlackRock did not want to get into this. They had no choice. This is where it's going. We will evolve stronger from this mess. Like you said, we will rise from the ashes. And history does repeat itself, though. I mean, Amazon went from roughly 98 down to 6, and it was a used book company. A lot of projects will go by the wayside, like the pets.com and the globe.com, and they're a footnote in history now. But if you do believe in something long term, which I think that we all do, this has been called the greatest transfer of wealth in mankind.
Oh yes.
I think the run up had a lot to do with, I know when I was working, a lot of the younger guys were, like I said, anyone can open up a Coinbase account. And, my buddy told me to buy this. They had no idea about technical analysis or really researching anything. I like to call them the Robin Hooders. And when people sell, somebody has to buy. And I've been saying for months that the bigger money has been very quietly buying this. They're looking at this as a minor setback, but you just said they have 3, 5, 7, 10 years. They're in the 7th or 8th inning when we're in the first right now.
Oh yeah.
So I completely agree with you. So I don't want to use the word negativity, but I mean, it was a lot of bad news that was discussed tonight, but people will be fine if they just DCA, and if you want to hodl, just keep it in cold storage, and you'll be thankful in a few years.
Yes, and with you talking about that, Brian, this is the chart from Amazon back from 1998 till 2011.
Wow.
So now, with that being said, till 2011, let's take a jump in time and just watch this.
Jeez. Absolutely dwarfed.
Wow.
So with what you're saying right there, Brian, this is still very much the first inning. Look at how technology trends have presented itself over time. Don't get stuck with the emotions of today. Look at the future. Look at ahead of what can come. Again, not financial advice. I'm just going based off historical data, values that, we've seen trends of similar things happen. And I think we're in the same niche right now, as that .com era.
Yep. It's kind of like a chokehold, right? But like the thing is with the chokehold is like it was limited, gets to the chokehold, seems to tighten up to the point where it's going to be almost phasing out. as soon as it gets out there, just explodes. And it has so many different people, like just like what Brian said, like, right? Like at the end of the .com era, everybody was like, oh my gosh, like there goes the internet. It's done. It's gone. I mean, look at us now. We're literally sitting here of 4 different parts of the country, all on a screen, talking to other people that are across the world from us.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's so many things that came from the internet and is still being made and still being discovered. So this is just, it's just that chokehold that we're going through. It's just that minor, it's the weeding out process to get us to where we need to be and to get us that explosion.
Definitely. Hold on. Say pull up IBM since 1996.
Coca-Cola, yeah.
So yeah, with this, I'm sorry guys, like it doesn't show the best on here, but when we're talking about 1996, we're talking about right in here. I don't have my highlighter set up on this one, but right in here. And since then, 90. I'm sorry, where am I? Where's my mouse? There we go. So 1996, right here was just kind of the start, and look what we've seen happen, and just start going up, 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 and up. Now, again, it is trends with the industry, but I do want to make something very. Oh, and I hope I'm not out of line by saying this, but again, this is my own personal thought. When you struggle staying innovative with the industry in the times of what you're trying to do, you are not going to keep up with the pace of the industry overall. So with what we've shown with Amazon, look how much they have accelerated. With IBM, looking from 2012 on and the trends that's been presented with that space, go look at the fundamentals of those companies and kind of see the changes, what these companies did to end up in those directions. This is the perfect time for projects that are building out there right now, looking for ways to stay innovative and not just sitting on their hands. We're not going to be the IBM chart from 2012 on. If we can follow trend with everything else. What is this? I don't want to join you. Sorry.
Take a leap.
There we go. But yeah, if we can stay innovative, remain relevant with the space, remain relevant with the technology as times move on. There's a lot of things that we are in a great position for. It may not seem like it today, but don't think about today or tomorrow. Think about that 6 months, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year mark. The light is bright at the end of the tunnel.
It only seems tough right now because it's just like, again, it's the great weeding out. It's getting rid of the trash and the garbage to bring in the innovation and to bring in fresh things and to to show it's the potential it has and give it that potential.
Definitely.
One of the guys that I follow for technical analysis, he brought up a great point. And FTX was, it caught everybody off guard, but we had a phenomenal CPI number that came out Thursday, and his opinion was Bitcoin would have been trading around 25, and 25.5 is a huge resistance point at that right now, and we would have been pushing up against it. So minor setback. If anything, people will get a little bit leery, but like you said earlier, Caddy, this too shall pass, and the industry will become stronger for it. We just have to get through the storm.
Yes.
And we will.
And let me tell you, if you are in the space and you do have that, not financial advice aspect, of course, but that emotional mindset, when the charts are running red and there's blood in the water and you're out there panic selling, all I can ask is for you to take a step back and remind yourself why you got into that project to begin with. What was the fundamental aspects? Because most likely the fundamentals may not have changed. It's just the overall market right now. it's those are those times if you walk into it with that mindset and look at it as that is your opportunity to DCA, to dollar cost average. Maybe you bought a lot in 2021 and that puts a bad taste in your mouth. Well, now is that chance to actually kind of overcome and bring that value, that average down. So when that next bull market does hit, not only are you sitting at a better price point, but you're sitting with a larger amount, a quantity of assets of tokens. So, taking $20 here, $50 there, it does add up over time. And with where I believe the market's heading, me directly, that $50 could easily be worth a lot more in the future. I'm not going to put a value to it because I don't know. But I can promise you one thing. We see the tough times here, and we're in those tough times. Yep. It can only be long-term goal is up from here, and that is insights. It's not a question of if; it is really the matter of when.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I agree.
Definitely.
I think the first decade of crypto was a lot of what ifs, and now it's a lot of wins. Yep. It's not no more of the ifs.
What's sometimes hard though is for people who got into crypto. I'm not talking like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, but last year. And we've talked about this too. The difference between 2021 and 2022, that was the when Lambo, and now it's like when bull. But we all experienced last year and the excitement and all that stuff. And so because we have that experience, we're looking at this like, I was gonna say a word that's not allowed, but I know.
Family friendly.
We're sitting here, we're trying to be patient, but we know that it can change again. Mm-hmm. Folks who got in this year, they're like, what the hell this is crypto? Like what? So we who've experienced, better times, and I'm there for anybody in DMs who just wants to talk if they're feeling like they don't know what to do with I don't give financial advice, but if somebody just wants to reach out, they can.
Yeah.
If they're having a hard time with the market or whatever, it will change. You're right.
It will. Some people it's not going to be as rough as others. And some people it is going to be harder than others.
Yeah.
And you'll figure out that happy median. All I can say is don't ever give up with what you're doing. If you started this type of journey to begin with, don't give up on that journey. There's a reason, even if it was the hype and the fun of why you got in. Hopefully during that hype and fun, you did take a time to understand a little bit about the technology, a little bit about the capabilities. It's not about all what the media portrays, and mass media is going to make you believe what they want you to believe. It's about your true experiences. And we all know that those experiences could be very rough in here. I remember when I first got into crypto and I was doing educational content, and you would be surprised of how much flack I actually got for doing something like that. These guys need to learn the way we did. You're just coddling them. They got to understand how this works. No, you want to make your pockets bigger while new people coming in are turned away. It's all about that mythology. You get one bad experience, it's going to spread to 30 people. You get one good experience, you may get to 2 or 3. And with the mindset that the space, the industry has had, there's a reason why we are our own hindrance. I'm sorry. Like if you are on social media and you see what was going on, and that is the reality I think a lot of PMs are seeing out here and projects are seeing is, we are our own hindrance. Look at the hype aspect last year, and it didn't matter. You didn't know something, you don't ask here. And now you're seeing that being a lot more socially acceptable. For me, it's always been about that mass adoption. That's always been a goal. When I came across crypto, I'm like, why the heck did I do this before? Now, granted, I hit my hurdles. But those hurdles is what drove me to want to educate more. And that was a hard thing to do. It was. I remember, never forget, I had a stream one night. I got scammed right before the stream, 5 minutes beforehand. I thought I was helping somebody out, and it was an ETH. It was legit an ETH in 2021.
Yep.
That was a month of my paychecks back then, and I'm like, oh my God. I grabbed everything. I threw it down. I said, I'm not doing this stream. I said, I'm done. I said, I give up. And I talked to a friend on Twitter that was there from day one. I talked to my wife, and the reality really is these are the reasons why people leave the space. So let's give them a chance to understand how this can happen. And, that night I did a 2-hour stream alone talking about how to read through Etherscan, what to look for and things like that. And be cautious. What you think you may know, double, triple check. Trust your gut. If you get a feeling, trust that feeling. Don't rush to judgment. Don't rush into the hype. Take your time, do your due diligence to get an understanding of what you're doing here. So, sorry, I'm done.
No, you're all good. That was perfect right there. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I find interesting as well. It's kind of like, to be an educator, it hurts, it sucks, but you kind of got to put yourself in the front of it, right?
Yep.
The best teachers were hurt the most because they are the most wise and they can give the best and the most helpful information on how to avoid those situations, right?
Yep.
I will say it's better now because a lot more people are now more open to education. They want to be more educated. And honestly, if anybody had came in during the meme hype, right now it's the perfect time. Even if you didn't go and read about this technology, because I wouldn't be surprised if there's people that bought into these meme tokens and they just kind of let it sit there. That's perfectly fine. Right now, though, is the perfect opportunity and time to get caught up in everything that you had kind of maybe fallen back on or that you hadn't read about. Right now is perfect. It's especially because it's literally right in the moment of so many things coming up and so many things being discovered and new possibilities coming out. It is amazing.
Yeah. The one thing though I really wish is when I started my YouTube channel, I kind of wish it was now and not when I did in 2021, because it got costly, man. Like, and I do understand there's a reason why there's not a lot of educational content out there. It's because in this space, it costs money to do that.
Yeah.
And typically the ones who are wanting to educate, they're here for a reason. And it's not just because of, I don't know how to say this without either one offending somebody or anything like that. But, I got in the space to the typical investment vehicles, the type of money I made, the typical investments, it wasn't right for me. And living paycheck to paycheck, I finally just looked at Kira one night and I said, we got to think outside the effing box. I'm sitting out my truck. I said, it's time to think outside the box. And that's where it began. And just getting in and recognizing the hurdles, the gaps that needed to be met, it was worth it to me. Instead of investing in this project, I'm going to go spend 30, 40 bucks on gas tonight and do some videos. Just so that way, the mindset that I've always had with this is if you can save one person a day, one person a week, one person a month from getting either scammed or falling into a rabbit hole within the space, consider it a success. Because there was more people going in those rabbit holes than there was being successful in the space and truly enjoying what it was for.
Yep.
True.
Yeah. No more bad coins.
No more.
No more crap coins. Yep. They're going to be. That's one thing that I thought was interesting as well, was some of these guys that were just straight memes. They were able to they were able to pivot and move more into utility, and it was kind of more of like they tried to get seamlessly into the transition because they realized what was dying, and they realized they needed to they needed to come along with the times. I'm not saying that they're the best or anything like that, but I will applaud them on that. Was the fact that they were vigilant enough to see when was the time to stop and when was the time to move. That exactly right there. That
they were tactful.
Yeah. They were watchful, they were tactful, and they served the purpose that they needed to serve. And that one version, now they're just in the next one, and it's like a completely different thing. It's phenomenal to watch that.
And you know what? And let's think about this here real quick. We talk about learning from other projects and experiences within the space. And let me tell you, from a project manager standpoint, from somebody who's been close to projects all along and wanting to learn how to our projects, these projects, all of them within the industry, right? every project you will learn and adapt and grow. And Guardian was presented with the same hurdles. There was some things that I look back now and I'm like, I wish I knew this then or had a better understanding of this. And one of the things, if you look at the success of some of these hyper meme projects, now I now do not encourage this to anybody, but these hype projects that started off, where was the money going? Where was the money going in these hype and meme coins? Where were they spending their money?
They were just going straight like advertising that they were a meme. Like straight
Exactly.
advertising, and they didn't really there wasn't
So-
really money to try to innovate or to build utilities.
Right. Which in turn forced them to pivot
Mhm.
into something with utility. But guess what? They did get figured out. They got the initial eyes on the project.
Yep.
You know, one of the approaches was that if I could do anything different within stuff I've learned is the marketing strategies would have been shifted a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, with Guardian, we are very limited on what we can do being a US based LLC. I hate to talk about that, but guys, we wasn't thinking for 1 year. We're thinking 5-10 years down the road.
Yeah.
And one of the things too is we're not going to jump the gun. We're not just going to say, oh, one person suggested we need to do this. Now we're going to do that. No, we're going to do our due diligence and we're going to make sure we do this right within the space. But the one thing I wish we would have done a little bit better was that initial marketing push, because Guardian kind of was built in a vacuum of ArchAngel. You know, there was no public exposure to it. There was nothing out there. And now he was releasing with an MVP. I ain't going to say it was the most appealing aspect out there, but let me tell you, the functionalities did exist in it. And if we would have had more eyes on the project very early on, I just would have done things a little different with trying to go to market.
Mhm.
Now, you know, when we launched, we were presented with the bad hurdle. We launched in April. Yeah. April 9th. I get April 9th and September 19th mixed up. But April 9th, and we just seen ETH at that point just start declining. And not only were we presented with that hurdle of, hey, here we're releasing with a great not a great service, a great platform the day before the digital asset went live. And, you know, we have hit our hurdles along the way, no doubt. But we learned how to pivot. We learned how to remain relevant, and we learned how to keep building during these times.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, sorry guys, I went on another ramble. We are about an hour 50 into this. Holy crap.
I don't think we've done this for a very long time.
No.
Oh goodness.
It's a warm welcome, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in
I
for
know.
overtime.
Oh no!
Right? Same.
I'll send you 100 trillion Guardian tokens. I don't even own that. Never mind. I don't even think there is enough. Brian, it's been awesome having you on Cafe tonight. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
That was a lot of fun. Great
I'm
conversation.
glad you joined us.
Mhm.
You keep
Yes,
dropping that stuff in chats too.
And
Will do.
welcome. If you did enjoy, man, come back and join us anytime. That invitation is always open to anybody. We enjoy it.
Yeah, you could just jump right in and interrupt people and mix it up with us. It's fine.
Yeah, we need
You don't have to be-
new faces and voices, anyways. After a year, you know, people may get tired of us. That's why we got the voice mods, just in case.
I still have to get one of those. All right. Well, should we let these fine folks, whoever is left,
Yeah, I think I've ran
They're-
most of them off.
11 p.m. on East Coast time. So
Yep.
Yes. Well, guys, again, Brian, thank you for coming. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us tonight, as always. And we will see you over in the chats.
have a good week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.